You don't struggle with money because you're bad with numbers. You struggle because of a story your brain learned about money long before you ever earned your first dollar. And that story is silently running your financial life right now. Your money script is a set of unconscious beliefs you formed about money in childhood. Psychologists call these automatic financial beliefs, and research shows that most of them are established before the age of 7. They come from what you saw at home, how your parents handled bills, debt, stress, arguments, success, or abundance. You didn't choose these beliefs. You absorbed them. Some people grow up believing that money is always scarce. Others learn that rich people are dishonest. Some learn that wanting more is selfish. These ideas settle deep in the nervous system and later show up as adult behavior. Guilt when charging more, fear when investing, anxiety when saving, impulsive spending when feeling insecure, or even total avoidance of finances. What makes this powerful is that your brain believes these scripts are protecting you, but in reality, they are often protecting you from growth. Studies in financial psychology show that when people become aware of their money scripts, their financial decision-making improves dramatically. Awareness interrupts the emotional autopilot. You start to notice patterns. Why do you spend when you're stressed? Why do you avoid checking your account? Why does making more money feel uncomfortable instead of exciting? None of that is random. It's emotional conditioning. And here's the most important truth. You do not have to fight your past to rewrite your financial future. You only have to understand it. Once your money script becomes visible, it becomes editable. You stop reacting emotionally and start choosing intentionally. You stop repeating inherited limitations and start building personal strategy. Because money doesn't respond to how hard you work. It responds to how your brain is programmed to behave around it. All scientific references for this topic are in the video description. Have you ever noticed how some people always seem to hit the same income level, no matter how many opportunities they get? That's not bad luck. That's a psychological ceiling. Your money ceiling is the maximum level of success your identity feels safe allowing. You may consciously want more money, but unconsciously your self-image may not believe you deserve it, can sustain it, or can handle the responsibility that comes with it. Behavioral economics and psychology show that when external success grows faster than internal identity, the nervous system experiences psychological stress. To reduce that stress, the brain unconsciously pushes you back into familiar territory. This is why people often self-sabotage right before a breakthrough. They overspend, miss deadlines, lose focus, quit projects, or create unnecessary conflict. This ceiling is not about skill. It's about self-worth. If your identity was shaped in an environment where money felt unsafe, unstable, or tied to conflict, prosperity can feel dangerous at a subconscious level. So even when opportunity shows up, the brain tries to restore the familiar. Breaking your money ceiling is not a technical upgrade. It is an identity upgrade. You don't need more information first. You need emotional expansion. This involves exposure to new financial environments, higher standards, new peer groups, and consistent proof that higher income is safe and sustainable. Growth always feels uncomfortable at first. That discomfort is not danger, it is expansion. The brain is recalibrating what normal means. If your financial life feels permanently stuck at the same level, it is not because of the economy. It is because your internal thermostat is set there. When you raise the identity, the income eventually follows. Most people don't stay broke because they don't earn enough. They stay broke because every dollar they earn is trained to disappear. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that pulls money out. This distinction seems simple, yet behaviorally it is one of the hardest rules for humans to follow. Why? Because the human brain is wired for immediate reward, not long-term multiplication. Behavioral finance studies show that people consistently choose short-term pleasure over long-term benefit, even when they intellectually understand the consequences. This is not a flaw of intelligence. It's a biological bias toward instant gratification. Assets usually feel boring at the beginning. They don't impress anyone. They require patience. They involve delayed reward. Liabilities, on the other hand, create visible pleasure now. That is why consumer culture grows faster than real wealth. Wealthy individuals organize their cash flow differently. They do not invest after they have everything. They invest first. They treat asset acquisition as a non-negotiable expense. Consumption becomes a secondary decision, not the foundation of their lifestyle. Another mental trap is called mental accounting. People treat money differently depending on its source. Salary feels like serious money. Bonuses feel like free money. Side income feels like extra, and extra money is often spent, not invested. The brain gives it a different label, even though it has identical value. Every dollar you control is a worker. You can send that worker to build your future, or you can send it to entertain your present. Over time, those decisions create two very different lives. You don't need to eliminate joy to build wealth. You only need to change who gets paid first, your future or your impulses. When your brain is trapped in survival mode, it literally loses the ability to think long-term. That is not mindset. That is neuroscience. Scarcity is not just a financial condition. It is a mental state. When you constantly worry about running out of money, your brain shifts into a stress response. Studies show that financial pressure reduces cognitive bandwidth, meaning your ability to plan, evaluate, and delay gratification becomes weaker. In scarcity mode, the mind narrows its focus. You stop thinking in years and start thinking in days. You avoid risk. You avoid learning. You avoid investing. Not because you're irresponsible, but because your nervous system is prioritizing survival over growth. The abundance mindset does not mean pretending money is infinite. It means understanding that money responds to value creation, structure, and strategy. Abundance is rooted in competence. Scarcity is rooted in fear. People in scarcity ask, "What if I lose this money?" People in abundance ask, "How can this money grow?" This shift does not happen through positive thinking alone. It happens through safety. Emergency funds, multiple income streams, skill development, and financial education tell the brain that the future is not a threat. As safety increases, fear decreases. As fear decreases, vision expands. Only when the brain feels safe does it allow curiosity, experimentation, and intelligent risk. And intelligent risk is where financial growth lives. You cannot architect a long-term future with a short-term nervous system. Your brain is wired to protect you from losing, even when that protection quietly costs you your entire future. Loss aversion is one of the strongest forces in human decision-making. Research proves that the emotional pain of losing money is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the same amount. This means your brain will work harder to avoid loss than to achieve growth. This explains why people stay in underpaid jobs for years, why they avoid investing, why they hold on to bad decisions instead of correcting them. The brain confuses familiar with safe, even when familiar is slowly damaging the future. Loss aversion also causes emotional attachment to money. People avoid selling failing investments because they do not want to lock in the loss. They avoid new opportunities because regret feels worse than stagnation. But there's a hidden truth. Not acting is also a financial decision, just one that feels painless in the moment. Inflation, missed opportunity, and lost time quietly compound in the background. Those who succeed financially do not eliminate loss. They normalize it. They understand that small losses are part of large progress. They separate identity from outcome. A failed investment is data, not a personal failure. The brain must be trained to interpret loss as feedback instead of threat. That is how fear turns into strategy. And strategy is what replaces luck in long-term wealth building. You cannot win if you demand guarantees in a world that rewards movement. You don't become wealthy by working more hours. You become wealthy by changing what your hours are worth. Time is the only resource that cannot be saved, stored, or replaced. Every financial system that scales is built on this reality. Studies on high-income behavior consistently show that top earners do not maximize effort. They maximize leverage. Your hourly value is not defined by your current paycheck. It is defined by how much value your decisions, ideas, and systems can produce over time. When you personally execute low-value tasks, you silently trade future growth for present busyness. Outsourcing is not luxury. It is mathematics. If your time can generate high value, spending it on repetitive, low-impact work creates an invisible opportunity cost. That cost compounds in lost strategy, lost learning, lost relationships, and lost innovation. This principle applies at every income level. It begins the moment you delegate what does not require your unique skill. It deepens when you automate systems. It scales when people and processes start working independently of your physical presence. Many people remain trapped in do everything alone mode. They feel productive, but they are not scalable. Productivity builds income. Scalability builds freedom. Wealth grows when your income becomes disconnected from your physical time. That is not laziness. That is architecture. You don't build freedom by doing more. You build it by deciding what should no longer depend on you. All scientific references for this topic are in the video description.